Hello and welcome to our new tutorial series for Conflict of Nations. In this video I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the general concepts of the game. However, if you are interested in learning more about a specific topic, for instance how to launch missiles, you can skip to it directly by accessing the military advisor in the top right corner of the screen. Now before we jump in, it's good to know that you can play multiple games at the same time. So I'm just going to switch back to the main menu so we can have a look. And if you go to the New Games tab, you'll see a variety of new games that have just spawned, and they mainly vary in two ways. We have normal speed games and we have 4x speed games. Normal speed games such as Independence Day and World War III run in real time, which means 1 hour in real life equals 1 hour in game. Whereas 4x games run 4 times faster, where 1 hour in real time equals 4 hours in game. So if normal games are too slow for you, I encourage you to try out 4x speed games. Now whenever you join a game, it's going to appear in your My Games list, from where you can access any game whenever you log back into the game. So as you can see, I already have a running campaign here, so I'm just going to join that. Okay, so now let's have a look at the basics of the game. Every game in Conflict of Nations has one clear goal, which is be the first player to reach the required victory points that are displayed in the top left corner in your player profile. Right now I have 52 out of 1,500 victory points. It's day 1 right now in the game, so it's still pretty early. And the big question now is, how do you actually get more victory points? As you can see, I'm playing Austria, and I can really choose from several countries that I want to attack. And the way I will gain victory points is by conquering more territory. So each province that you conquer is worth 1 victory point, and every city is worth victory points according to the current population that they have. So if we have a look at Munich, we see a number displayed in brackets, and that means that Munich actually has a population of 5, which means currently it is worth 5 victory points. And this population is going to grow over the course of the game, which means if I were to capture it now, then chances are the population will grow up to 7, 8, 9, and if it's a really long game, maybe even 10, which means at that point it will be worth 10 victory points. And these are the only 2 ways you will be able to get more points. Now, of course, the next question is, how do we get more units? As you can see, I'm playing Austria. And every country comes with a basic starting setup. So I have a few motorized infantry, I have 2 combat recon vehicles, and I have an air superiority fighter. Now ideally I don't want to pull all the units out of my country just to attack another country, leaving my own defenseless. So what I want to do is start producing new units. And there are 2 main components when it comes to producing units. One is you need the required research, and the other is you need the required buildings. So let's have a look at the research first. The research button is in the top left corner on your player profile. Just go ahead and click it. And then you're going to see several categories. These are the different units that you can mobilize in the game. Since it's day 1, we want to focus on the essentials. It's important to know that only infantry units can actually conquer new territory. So you want to make sure that we research at least one of these. Now I'm going to go with motorized infantry. It's your nice basic infantry. And as you can see, we have this blue line going through the research panel. And this is the current day of game. So right now it's day 1, which means I can only research anything that is behind this blue line. Everything else is going to be gradually available as the in-game day progresses. So with the motorized infantry selected, let's have a look at the details. Here you see the research costs. For reference, up in the top you have your current resources. And then here you also see the research time, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds. So let's go ahead and queue that. And I'm going to speed that up as well. So now we have the research and the diamond icon turns blue. Now let's go out. Now the next question is, which city do we want to use to mobilize these units? Since I would like to attack Munich, I'm going to go ahead and turn Innsbruck into my production hub for units. So we select the city, and in the province bar you see you have 2 buttons, one for constructing buildings and one for mobilizing units. Let's go ahead and click on the mobilizing units button. And as we can see, we have the basic infantry. It's not completely grey out since we have the research, but we still can't start mobilization. And as you can see, the tooltip tells us that it still requires a building, which is a army base level 1, before we can start producing this unit. So let's head over to the buildings tab. And right at the top, we have the army base level 1. Here we see how much it costs to construct this building, and here we see how long it's going to take. 1 minute and 30 seconds plus 8 seconds from a morale penalty. Now we're not going to get into morale in this tutorial, we'll do this in another video, but just be aware, as the morale of your city increases, this penalty is going to go down. So let's go ahead and start constructing an army base. Again, I'm going to speed it up. Okay. Now, if we look at our province bar, we see that Innsbruck now has a army base level 1, which was the only required building to build motorized infantry. And now we can see the start button is green, and we can start producing it. It's going to take 18 hours, so quite a bit, but that's all right. And of course, you can start building arms industries or army bases in multiple cities, and you can start producing motorized infantry in volume at the same time. So while we're waiting for the motorized infantry to finish, now let's have a look at how we're going to start attacking Munich. As you can see, we have 3 cities that are close to Munich. We have 2 motorized infantry stationed in Bregenz. We have a stack consisting of 1 combat recon vehicle and 2 motorized infantry stationed in Innsbruck. And we have another stack like this stationed over in Linz. I'm going to use my army stack that is in Innsbruck simply because Innsbruck itself is nicely surrounded by mountains, and mountains are really hard for most units to quickly move through. So chances are, by the time anyone even decides that they're going to attack me here, my reinforcements will be finished. So let's go ahead and select this stack. And now we have 2 options, the move command and the attack command. At this point, they're going to result in the same outcome. And that's simply due to the fact that you cannot move units through neutral territory. If I wanted to be able to move my armies through Germany's territory without declaring war, we would either have to enter into a coalition, or we would have to set up a diplomatic agreement, which is right of way. However, our intentions are very clear. We want to take Munich for ourselves, so let's go ahead and select the attack command. And as you select a destination, the game is going to automatically calculate the fastest route depending on the terrain type and the individual unit stats on how fast they move through certain terrain. So let's click on Munich. And as you can see, it's going to take 6 hours and 35 minutes until this stack arrives. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.